Hello builders, and welcome to another habitat build. In this one I have for you the big old saltwater crocodiles. This one's going to mark the final habitat that we're building for the Backyard Bayou. It's been a long journey, but we're finally there. But the journey ain't over yet. I still have a lot more animals put in this whole zoo. Just this one section is finished. After this, I'm going to take a little bit of a break from doing these bigger areas, and we're going to go over and just do a little butterfly garden. So expect to see that video in a few days. Now, talking about the building, as you can see here, we had the little alligator habitat off to the side there. Unfortunately, that video never was able to be released as I lost the footage. But these things happen and we just move on. But at least you can see me using half the building as I copy and paste it over because I wanted to duplicate it on this side for a little dock for the crocodiles. And once that butterfly garden exhibit is done that I talked about earlier, we're going to move on to something a little different from the swamp and tropical zones we've been doing for a while. And we're going to work on the old European village I've been planning to do for a while. But that's enough rambling for our channel updates for now. Let's focus on the building, shall we? Because I'm sure that's why you're all here. You don't need to hear me rambling about random stuff. So when it comes to the build, we gotta get all the terrain all edited in. I usually don't like flat habitats, but with the swamp we kind of have to work with it. Swamps are known for being really flat, but that doesn't mean it has to be boring. I want to have a lot of these little islands around, as I've been doing for most of the Backyard Bayou. Makes it look a little bit more flooded and swampy as you would expect a swamp to be. Go figure, eh? Okay, I think I just said A unironically. I'm feeling pretty Canadian right now. I'm a little self-conscious about that. But moving on from my Canadian heritage just for a moment, let's move on to the rocks. Get all those lovely rocks in and start that rock work and making this whole thing look like a proper wild habitat. Because after all, that's what we're here for. I want to make this zoo look as wild as possible and make guests feel like they're actually in the wild looking at these animals. And always a good trick for you if you want to do a big rock wall. Make one section like this and just copy paste it over once you have it looking good. And if it's starting to look a little bit repetitive, don't be afraid to go in and just remove a couple rocks or add a few more here and there. That way it breaks that copy paste feeling you get that makes things look a little jarring to the eye. You know, rewatching this footage back, I had a lot of fun time building this whole area. The swamp was a really interesting idea. I've never done anything like that in Planet Zoo. And there's no real swamp packs either, so it made finding all the right pieces to build it with a little bit more difficult. But it was a fun challenge. Although shout out to the Oceania pack. That one probably donated the most pieces to all these areas. Especially with those driftwood pieces. I love those driftwood pieces that made this whole thing look a little bit more swampy. Of course, we gotta add rocks all over the shoreline here. Gotta make it nice and green and all mossy. Although we don't want to add too much because we still need the crocodiles to be able to get into the water, which is why I'm smoothing out the terrain a little bit to make things a little bit nicer for them. And also, I gotta cover up those feeders so guests don't already see the machinery for them. And just like that, the rock work is done. Well, mostly done. I'm sure I'll add a few more rocks here and there. But now we can come in here and start adding in all the lily pads and making it look like a proper swamp. Although the lily pads, you always gotta be careful, especially if you have underwater viewing domes or areas looking at them. The lily pads have a root system, and it looks kind of jarring if they're just floating in the middle of really deep water and the roots aren't actually connected to the ground. Although that's where the large lily pads come in, they don't actually have roots, so feel free to float those in the middle of your ponds. But once the surface of the water is complete, I come underneath and we start adding in all the little grasses and rocks down here. It also gives me a chance to delete a couple lily pads that were floating and just being a little weird. And sorry about the real jittery camera work here. I don't know what I was doing that day. My camera work is all over the place as I'm placing these down. And here comes my favorite part of the build. This is what it's all about, building the exhibits. Getting all that green down and really making the swamp come to life. Well, okay, maybe my second favorite. Putting the rocks down are always my favorite part. Something zen about doing all those rocks. Of course, it's not a zoo habitat without our old friends the crocodiles in it. So I added the crocodiles, of course, and it gives me a chance to double check to see if they can actually access all of their feeders. Turns out they couldn't. They were bigger than I thought they were, so I had to go in and adjust a few placements here and there just so that they can actually eat. And here is a good building tip for you if you haven't watched many of my other videos. If you want a nice big jungle wall, just take some big trees and sink them down into the mountains and have them just clipping through. It creates this nice big overgrown looking wall. You know what, looking back, maybe I went a little overboard with foliage. Or maybe not. Sometimes those little details and the obsessive detail I like to add in, I think makes the whole thing really come to life. I don't know, what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Do I use too much trees and grass and rocks? Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. Who knows? It's up to you. Who am I kidding? There's only one right answer. The answer is no, you keep using rocks, keep using grass. Just keep going. Keep going until there's no space left. Fill everything up. Okay, so for this next bit, I was planning to add this into the alligator video, but being that I lost most of the footage for that, I've decided to add this bit right into the end of the crocodile habitat. I decided we didn't have much food or shopping in this area, so I wanted to add just a small little market so the guests could walk through and buy a few things if they wanted to. Originally, I think I had 3 shops on each side, but in the end we come in and just whittle it down to 2. As I make each little stall a little bit bigger than I originally planned. While building the stall, I came up with the idea of making these little baskets and filling them with plushies. I think it was a super cute idea, and feel free to use that when you're decorating your own little stores. I'm not too sure why I put all the masks and hats on this one stall, because I had planned to put an actual hat stall right beside it. So later on we ended up removing all of those and replacing them with other items. And here you'll see my attempt at making hot dogs. I think what I ended up doing was creating a rope, changing it red, and just putting it in a little cylinder and making it bread colored. And then boom, we got hot dogs. And then of course I want to have a little grill here set up so that someone could actually cook hot dogs here while serving them to guests. Now we are getting to the end of the video, so I just want to thank you all for watching this far and for continuing to watch and support my little YouTube and Twitch career. Feel free to join me on Twitch if you haven't already and come say hello. I'm always willing to chat with new people about any random thing that you want to talk about. You want to talk about Planet Zoo? I'll talk about Planet Zoo. You want to talk about anime or movies or anything like that? I will. You want to talk about the mysteries of the universe? I'll try and impart my all-knowing knowledge of the universe to you. But feel free to leave a little comment and like, and feel free to subscribe too if you haven't already. Hopefully you will watch more videos because I'm going to keep posting these until we're finished this zoo project. And if my computer ends up crapping out because this zoo is too big, then I have other projects I will get to and we will continue adding content to this channel. But with that whole spiel done, let's leave you with one final flyby of this build. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time, builders. See ya!